everybody. This is Shanita here with Jewels in the Making, a channel geared toward faith, lifestyle, and development. Today's topic is my feelings with teaching in person. So I am a 4th and 5th grade teacher here in South Carolina, and we are in person. I teach at a private school, so we started, I want to say 2 weeks before our public schools did, and we're full force, like we're full throttle. And I can say at first that overwhelmed me. I'm like, wait a minute, like we're going full force, we're just going all in. And it overwhelmed me, not to the point, and I'm sorry if you hear mowing, I'm getting my lawn mowed right now, so you'll hear background noise, but I do apologize for that. But I was a little overwhelmed, not thinking that God would allow me to get sick or something bad would happen to me. Like, I have faith in God. Like, I know He got my back. I know this is not this pandemic and everything that's going on is not where it's going to end. I feel like there's more to come, but there's a lot of growing that people have to do. So with all of that being said, like, I was in the mindset of, I know God got my back, so I'm gonna be fine. But I just wanted to make sure that everything was set up properly and that I was doing all that I needed to do to make sure that my students as well as myself were protected. And so I went a bit overboard. I went as far as I made sure that each child had individual sanitizers, each child had their own tissues. We're washing our hands several times a day. And for me, that's what I needed to do. For other people, it may be like, well, she's going a little too far. And I personally don't feel like I am. I feel like it may seem as though I'm going overboard, but I'm just trying to keep the kids as well as myself protected. Yes, the kids are at a lower risk of dying from this virus, but they can carry it to other people. And so I wanted to make sure that in my classroom that we were making sure that we were as safe as possible. And so I would say probably last week, or I would say about last week, I started to get more comfortable. I began to get more adjusted to the mask. Sometimes, even when the kids weren't in the classroom, I would still be sitting with my mask on. I'm like, she need to take the mask off. But I just began to get adjusted to it, and it wasn't as bad. But I tell you guys, when I first was teaching with that mask on, it was miserable. I was hot. I felt like I couldn't breathe really. And I was just uncomfortable. And most of that could have been my anxiety, like, just nervous a little bit. But as soon as I started to relax and I just got into the groove, the mask really doesn't bother me. There are, sometimes when we have to go outside and it's hot, it gets a little aggravating. But for the most part in the classroom, when I'm not doing like a whole bunch of walking around and stuff like that, it's not bad. But I would say that this whole situation, this pandemic, as a teacher, it has taught me how to pivot and be able to be flexible. I am not teaching, I am not conducting my classroom the same way that I did last year. And any advice that I can give any teachers right now who are not in the classroom yet or are about to go into the classroom is be flexible. It's okay if an assignment doesn't get done, because maybe you spent more time in the bathroom because they had to wash your hands and it took longer. It's okay. It's okay if you have to, like for me, I have to change around science projects. Like science experiments, they can't touch the same objects. I can't sanitize all of those objects. So that means that, hey, we'll be doing more things on Microsoft Teams. And I'll show you that in a little bit. But you can create like assignments on Microsoft Teams or Google Slides, and make it interactive where they're doing the experiment but it's virtually. But I had to learn how to pivot, and you're going to have to learn how to pivot too. Don't stress yourself out. At first, you are going to feel a bit of anxiety. That's just normal. But you'll relax and you'll kind of get into the groove, and you'll be like, okay, I got this. All right. And that's where I had to be. It wasn't that I didn't have faith. I know God got me, but I myself had to like relax, like, you got this. All right, think, what do you need to do next? And that's another thing. You have to think of the smallest things. Like, I have a library, and so I had to think, well, how can I get my students to read and them not touch all the same books? Well, I gave my students two options. Okay, you can either bring two chapter books from home and keep them at your desk and change them out every other week, or if you choose from my library, we'll switch them out every other week. And then I have a sanitizing bucket. So that means that they're sprayed down and they're left out over the weekend so they can be disinfected. And then I'll put them back in the library. But I wanted to give my students options, and I personally did not sugarcoat what COVID-19 was. I showed my children an animated children's version of COVID-19 and how they need to wash their hands, how many seconds they need to wash their hands. And so I deal with 4th and 5th graders. They're not that mature, but they're a little mature where they can understand what needs to be done. But again, they're still kids, and you have to constantly reinforce, put your mask on. Okay, you're a little too close. They're still kids. But at the same time, I showed them this video so that they'll know how to take responsibility. You have to wash your hands. This is key now. This is a part of life. You have to put on your mask. Like, this is a part of life. This is what we're doing right now. Will it always be like this? No. But for right now, guys, we have to just go with the flow and do the best that we can to just be safe. And so I was very honest with my students. And so they kind of understand what they need to do, how they need to do it, that sort of thing. And so as of right now, I'm feeling a lot more comfortable in the classroom. It is a lot of work. I kudos to all the teachers. Like, I don't think that people realize how hard it is now for us. It's a lot of sanitizing. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of being creative, thinking outside of the box, thinking on your toes. It's a lot of things that we have to do now, and we just need your prayers because it's very difficult. I'm not going to say that this is a cakewalk, and I don't think anybody expected it to be. It has become less stressful and less hard these last couple of weeks, but it's still not normal, and it probably won't be normal for a while, and I have to be okay with that. People have their different feelings as to being in the classroom. I don't personally have a choice, so I'm in the classroom and I'm going to make the best of it, and I'm going to keep myself protected as well as my students as much as I can. And so if we all have that mindset, then, you know, hopefully it'll get better. But just pray for us. I just wanted to share kind of an update of how I've been doing, how I've been adjusting to teaching in person. And, you know, so far I'm healthy, I'm fine. We're gonna get through this, guys, and it's tough, but we're tougher. And I just want to leave you guys with a little glimmer of hope, especially teachers, and give those who are not teachers insight of what we're dealing with mentally. I'm glad that I'm in a positive state of mind. It could be worse. Some people are not in a positive state of mind, and I continuously pray for those. But again, I'll ramble on and on, but I just want to let you guys know that we're all kings and queens of the Most High, Jesus Christ. Be blessed. Peace.